Hi everyone, Kimberly Lynn Williams here. I'm here talking about fats today. Fats are super important for health and wellness. Our brain is made up of over 70% fat and cholesterol. Every cell in our body is fat and has fat in it. In fact, there are membrane lipids that form this, I kind of have a little drawing here, this double layer around the surface of every single cell in our body. And these membrane lipids are very much similar to fats and oils that we all know all about. And what happens is, and this is one of the things that people don't really understand, is that when you cook fats, you produce something called lipid peroxides. So first, I'm going to introduce my guest. Her name is Renee Ainlay, and she is the owner of Original Living Coconut in Missouri. What city are you in, Renee?
Stockton, Missouri.
Okay, yeah, she's in Stockton, Missouri, which is about 2 hours south of Kansas City.
Correct.
So happy to have you here with us. Let me just show our viewers something very quickly. So what happens is when you cook fats, it changes the chemistry of the fat. This is a little demonstration that we did, a little test, actually an experiment. This stainless steel teapot was set on the back burner of the stove, and we fried eggs in organic extra virgin olive oil, and that oil, once it was heated and cooked, splattered onto this teapot. And if you could feel this is hardened cholesterol, hardened fat that is on this teapot. You can hear me if I scrape it. It would take a scouring pad to get this off. This is regular stainless steel. So when you cook fats, it changes the chemistry. It hardens them, and it produces something called lipid peroxides. And those get into our body, and they store in our nerve endings, in our brain. They store in our lymphatic system. They store in our arteries. And if you watch my video on stroke, you'll see how I talk about how toxins actually damage the inside of the lining of the arteries. And then these fats go and accumulate there and cause atherosclerosis. So we have Renee here. Let's get into your amazing coconut cream. So coconut cream, tell us about coconut cream. Tell us about you, kind of how you got into this, how you started making the coconut cream, and then we'll talk about the health benefits of it.
Okay. We started making coconut cream back in 2007. And prior to that, from about 1992 to 2005, I was real sick. Actually, 2006, 2006, I was real sick. I had debilitating illnesses. I was born with a kidney disease, and it just got worse and worse over time. It's called medullary sponge kidney disease, and it's where you have stones, multiple stones, and infections. So I was dealing with that, and then I was dealing with mitral valve prolapse in my heart. I was dealing with high blood pressure. I was dealing towards the end with a lot of liver problems with all the medications I was on. I was on just tons of steroids, tons of pain medication. I was on anti-seizure medication towards the end. I think it was in 98, they put a pump in me, a morphine pump. Then that would help with the pain, because the pain was just so intense all the time. And I didn't like taking the medication because it would really make me foggy at the least. So they put the morphine pump in, and that went straight to my spinal cord, and that would help to dull the pain in my kidneys. I had that in up until 95, when they took that out. And that's when everything just snowballed. I got spinal meningitis 7 times throughout the year. And my very last hospital stay, I was in the hospital more than I was out that year, from 2005 to 2006. And so my very last hospital stay, I think I was in a little over a month, and I flatlined twice, and they brought me back. They were taking me off the morphine, and I think that's what was doing it, because I was on such incredibly high amounts of morphine. And the doctor couldn't believe it. She didn't believe that that they put me on that amount. And the steroids and the anti-seizure meds. So they got me off they got me off of that, and then they wanted to do a brain biopsy to see why I was getting meningitis. And they said that I had a 95% chance of having a stroke. And I was just so sick at that point. And, you know, there was just no way I was going to do that. You know, sorry. I didn't want to do that to my family because things were bad enough as they were. So they basically sent me home to die. And my husband took me home. A family member had called him and wanted me to see a natural doctor, and said, you know, we haven't tried that yet. You know, she's been to all these mainstream medicals, you know, medical doctors, and she needs to try a natural doctor. So I did. You know, he made arrangements and took me there. And at first they started out, they didn't give me any vitamins or anything like that, but it was just all food. And they taught me how to use food as my medicine. And at that point, and it was eating all like a raw food diet.
A naturopath that you saw?
Yeah, it was actually Mercola.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Jim Marlowe at Mercola's office. And Jim Marlowe, he's great. So, yeah, he taught me how to use food as my medicine. And I started to get better. You know, I mean, within a month, I was actually walking and talking and speaking in sentences. And, you know, I felt pretty good. I mean, I still had really bad headaches, but it wasn't like it was, you know, it wasn't debilitating. And I just continually got better. And then I hit a wall. I started detoxing really heavily, and I started hemorrhaging through my kidneys were hemorrhaging. And so Jim said, you know, you really are going to need to go to the hospital. I said, well, that won't happen because I'm not doing that again. You know, especially where that ended me up. So I ended up seeing an osteopath, and he kind of helped me with everything. And then he said, you know, you really need to see this other guy. His name is Agenus, and I know he can help you with this. So my husband found Agenus and called him on the phone and explained to him what was going on. And Agenus said that, you know, I was having a detox, and he put me on raw cabbage juice, and that really helped with the bleeding. I did hemorrhage for about 6 months, but after that initial month, real heavy, it calmed down, you know, to be tolerable, so where I wasn't hemorrhaging to death.
Where was the bleeding coming from?
My kidneys.
From the kidneys. Mm-hmm.
From my kidneys, yeah. And it was a detox where it was actually just sloughing off and getting rid of, because I had like, I don't even know, I think 7 or 8 lithotripsies that they did. So my kidneys had so much scar tissue in them and stones. I mean, my kidneys were loaded with stones. If you looked at them on an x-ray, they were turning to stone. So it was getting rid of all that junk and, you know, that detox. But, you know, a detox can kill you if you're not careful. So, you know, we did that until we could see Agenus, which was in September, October when he was out in Illinois. And it was just amazing, you know. So I ended up switching from Jim to Agenus, and then Agenus taught me more in depth how to use food as my medicine and how to take care of detoxes. So that didn't happen again. And yeah. And one of the things he put me on was raw coconut cream with berries and, you know, all the different things that you use coconut cream with. Right. And the coconut cream
was an avid supporter of raw fats, getting proper raw fats, and really understood the importance of having that in your body all of the time, how the fats help pull the poisons out, grab a hold of them and help pull them out of your body, lubricate your body and help heal and help with energy. And, you know, he understood
yes.
how the fats are part of every single part of our cell. And we go on these non-fat diets and we're doing the opposite of what we should be doing. But the problem is we were putting the wrong kind of fats in. So the studies that you read about fats and fats causing problems in the body are all from cooked fats.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the coconut cream was huge. I mean, the fats in my body needed all those and needed the coconut cream fats, but it also needed the enzymes in the coconut cream, because coconut cream breaks down and it was dissolving my kidney stones, which was quite amazing. So it was pretty neat. So after that,
you're not talking about going to the grocery store and buying a can of coconut cream.
No. My husband had to take a whole brown coconut. It had to be a mature coconut. He had to crack them. He had to scoop out the meat, the white meat, and then he had to press it. And yeah, it was interesting. It took him all day long just to make me a jar. And so I think the next time we talked to Agenus had said, well, you can make coconut cream for people. And I'm like, I would love to do that because, people need this. People need coconut cream. And I'd said that to my husband before. I said, we have to get this out there because people need this fat. They need what it can do for them. And so, yeah, Agenus helped us with getting some machines from Thailand, and we started in 2007.
Do you have the finger eater? You know what machine I'm talking about, the finger eater?
Oh, yeah.
There's one that literally looks like, if your fingers get caught in there, we call it the finger eater. It's just the one that cracks it open, like saws it open. Very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, that usually gets, people usually get their thumb caught in that. We've had a few people do that.
Yeah.
I got my finger cut off in the juice. No, it's not. It's not. It's time consuming, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because first you have to take the shell off, and that's with that machine with the pin. So that's called a shucker, and then after that, the meat has to be shred, and then after that, it has to be cold pressed. So, yeah,
right.
It is a process.
Truly cold press, so there's no heat applied to this whatsoever. There's no heat generated. I know when the machines rotate, a little bit of warmth is created, in the pressing process if you're doing it over a period of time. But there's no heat added to it, and it's not a high temperature. It doesn't get above like 100 degrees. Would you say? Have you ever measured that?
Correct. Yeah, we do. We take temperatures all the time when we're pressing just to make sure it doesn't go over 90, like 90 to 95. Yeah.
Right. And so you started a business from this.
We did. Yep, we did. And at first we started with co-ops, sending the coconut cream to co-ops, and Agenus's patients would order through the co-ops. And then I started on, a website where people could order it online.
And so, tell us the name of your website.
It's originallivingcoconut.com.
And so are you doing this once a month? Are you doing it as needed? Tell me about, because I know that you have fresh available plus frozen available, and you've also made ice cream. I'm going to show this picture. The ice cream looks amazing. It looks so good. I haven't tried it, but I have had coconut cream ice cream from Kippy's out in Venice, California before. So I know it's really delicious, but I'm going to have to order some of yours. So tell us a little bit about the products that you offer. And does freezing do anything to it? Do we know if it damages it, or, is there any research on that?
Yeah, the freezing does, it affects the enzymes, but otherwise it doesn't affect the fat. There's been times, there was a couple years where I wasn't able to get coconut cream unless it was frozen, and I didn't notice a difference other than the enzymes. So that, it still did what it needed to do for me with the kidneys and things like that. I like fresh much better, and that's what I would always have. But, if I had to, if I didn't have fresh, then I would take the frozen.
Right.
But we do offer frozen all the time, and we do fresh every other week. So we've got on the 31st, we've got one production coming up, and then it's in every other week. We used to be weekly, but the orders have kind of slowed down from this coronavirus. So, yeah.
So they can order either fresh or frozen, and they can be shipped right to their door.
Correct.
Okay. And can they have the ice cream shipped as well?
Yes, we do ship the ice cream. The ice cream is in stores. We're in over I would say we're close to 300 stores now, and mostly in the East Coast and in the Midwest, and then the Northwest coast. And so they can buy it in stores, or you can order it online. And that website you can order on originallivingcoconut.com or reneeslive.com. If you go on to reneeslive.com, you can put in your zip code and find out if there's a store near you.
Okay, perfect. So you have a store locator. Great. And so tell us a little bit more about, I know the coconut cream is something that you changed in your diet, obviously. So you added these fats, and you feel like that really, like that helped dissolve the actual kidney stones that you had and helped heal your body. And what other foods did you add? Additional raw foods to your diet as well?
Yes, I was 100% raw. Yeah,
Are you
everything.
100% raw?
I would say I'm about 90%, 90 to 95% raw.
And when you say raw, you're not talking about a raw vegan diet. You're talking about animal protein. Do you do dairy, raw unpasteurized dairy as well?
I did up until, I would say, about 3 years ago. And then I started having reactions to it. So maybe I can try it again. I can have cheese again, because I couldn't have cheese for a while. And that's when it started. When I have the raw dairy, it seems to kind of give me a little bit of inflammation, which it never did before, but it's just one of those things that happens sometimes. And then the cheese, I love having little bits of cheese all day long, the raw cheese, and I had to stop doing that because that was really bad for a while. It was just affecting my joints, where I was incapacitated for a few days and in a lot of pain. So it was really strange. Now I can have cheese again. So, but it's been a few years.
It's interesting. Our body kind of goes through these ebbs and flows, and we have to figure out, people ask me all the time, well, do I have to eat this and this and this? And we know Cornell University actually found an actual gene that proves that you have to have this. It's called a vegetarian allele. It's a vegetarian gene to be on 100% vegan diet, 100% plant-based diet. If you don't have that gene, you cannot survive on a 100% vegan diet. So I'm hoping someday, that'll be standard testing, because I know a lot of people, especially kids, have the idea. I mean, it's wonderful to start adding more plant-based foods. We all need it. There's no question. But we have to be cautious because some people don't have that gene. And in this particular test, 82% of the people in the US did not have the vegetarian gene. So it meant they had to have some animal protein. But it's interesting. Some people can do the raw dairy and some people can't. Some people do a combination of like what you're doing, where you can do the raw animal protein with the raw coconut cream. So that's a really great option, is the coconut cream for that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Very
That's
fortunate to have that.
Right. Well, I just want to say something else about cooking fats. So when you cook fats, it produces something called lipid peroxides. And if anybody wants to do research on their own, just go to Google Scholar and put in toxicity of lipid peroxides, and you will get a ton of studies, great, incredible studies from the National Institute of Health, from high quality educational institutions, talking about how cooking fats produces these lipid peroxides, which then cause cellular destruction in your body. It causes inflammatory disease. They know that it plays a role in Alzheimer's disease. And again, because it changes the chemistry of it, it hardens it, and it gets into your bloodstream. And then once it gets up into your brain, into your nerve endings, and into your, all of the cardiovascular system, the circulatory system that goes into your brain, it can clog all of that up and harden in there and cause a lot of disease. So in fact, meat fat and coconut cream, those two types of fats have all the healing properties in them. So those two, meat fats and coconut cream. So if you don't want to do the raw meats, or you don't want to do a lot of meat in your diet, which I understand, you can go for the coconut cream. And again, the studies about meat being bad for your body are all done on cooked animal protein. And you can look up something called heterocyclic amines that's produced when you cook animal protein. And the book that Renee was referencing is called We Want to Live by Audrey van der Planets. This is who she saw and who really tremendously helped her in her healing. So anything else, Renee, that you would like to discuss about the coconut cream and its benefits?
Well, I think you hit on all the benefits. It is quite amazing, just from personal experience. It does help to dissolve plaque in arteries. It helps to dissolve kidney stones. It's just amazing. It helps personally. I'm speaking from personal experience. Just memory. In the morning, taking the coconut cream in the morning, it's a nice, good boost of fat to the brain. And so it helps memory, and it tastes wonderful.
It really does. So one thing, how long does it last? Because I know, so the fresh coconut cream is going to have all the enzymes in it. So it's going to naturally ferment pretty quickly. Tell us a little bit about shelf life. Does the frozen last a little bit longer once you defrost it?
Okay. Well, the fresh coconut cream, just like with any fruit, like if you were to take a banana and peel it and leave it out, or throw it in the refrigerator, it's going to look funny in a couple hours. So everything starts to naturally ferment. All fruits naturally ferment. So just like coconut cream, after it's pressed, it's going to start to naturally ferment. You won't notice a taste difference. It could be, 5 days to 14 days. I've got a jar in my refrigerator now that's 3 weeks, and it just started to ferment. Sometimes, they'll ferment a little sooner. So it just depends on temperature, humidity, sunlight, and temperature fluctuation. With everyone's has different temperature settings in the refrigerator, whether it be a couple degrees, it's still different. We do ship everything in cooler boxes. It's a cooler instead of corrugated box with ice packs to keep the product cold. And so that helps it last. Now, if you do the frozen, when we ship that also gets sent the same way. What we recommend is just thawing a little bit, in the refrigerator, taking out what you're going to use for about 3 days and then putting it back in the freezer. And it'll last forever that way.
Have you ever tried the trick that I've heard about putting lime juice in it or raw honey to help extend it? Does that actually work?
It does. The lime juice does. I guess it's a personal preference. I personally like it without the lime, but some people like it with the lime, and they feel it helps extend the shelf life of it because lime is antibacterial, and it cuts down on any type of bacteria. So that would extend it a little bit.
Okay. And could parents is there a way to make ice cream? Like if they wanted to order your coconut cream and make their own ice cream? I ordered the regular coconut cream and tried to make ice cream, and I'll be honest, it tasted a little gritty. But then I went back to your website and I saw that you have one that's like, is it double strained? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Is that what you use for your ice cream as well, the double strained?
Yes, we strain it. Yeah. Otherwise, you are going to have a little bit of the fiber in there.
Right.
From the coconut.
So somebody could order the strained coconut cream and then just make ice cream, just put some raw honey and their own flavoring in there. Is there anything that they need to do to add to it to make their ice cream at home? Because they could literally give this to their children every day for breakfast. It's so healthy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's recipes online, and but yeah, if they get a little ice cream maker, put the coconut cream and honey in there, and if they want some fresh fruit in there, they can chop up some strawberries or blueberries or raspberries, depending on what they want, for flavoring. And it's real simple. And then just put that in the ice cream machine. They may need a little bit of if they don't want dairy, they could use a little raw milk in there, just a little bit, or they can use just a little bit of water. but yeah.
Okay. So this is, I just have to say, one of the most important foods is this raw fat, and this coconut cream is amazing. This is
Yeah.
tremendous for this time of COVID. And the reason why is because it really helps moisturize your respiratory system. So the reason people get symptoms is because they have so much toxicity in their body. So one person could contract COVID and have no symptoms at all, and another person could contract COVID and have extreme symptoms, extreme respiratory symptoms, and other symptoms as well. And it's because their body has more toxins and poisons in it. So this coconut cream is actually a preventative for COVID, and it also helps you with the symptoms of it because it helps lubricate and moisturize your entire body in addition to your respiratory system. So I highly recommend this. I'm a big supporter of this. Everybody should be calling and ordering this.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks, Renee. Thank you so much for being with me. Again, originallivingcoconut.com, and send us some questions if you like below on the video, notes below. And again, thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, Kim. I appreciate it.